It's 8 p.m. and here are our top stories. A Centennial apartment complex is riddled with rodents that are creating strife for residents with cars.
I definitely can't afford to pay for thousands of dollars in damage in my car from the rats.
It's an issue that's hit many neighborhoods. Now residents say they need to see a solution.
Plus, school resource officers are coming together to remember those lost in the Columbine tragedy.
We cause change, and nobody can do it alone. We all have to work together.
As more violence unfolds across the country, what action they say needs to be taken.
Friends and family come together after a pioneer in football and former Bronco passes away.
He was so proud of being the first Black starting quarterback.
How his former team is making sure he gets a proper send-off.
And later, this community is small but mighty. How they work together to make a huge difference in this family's life.
Hey there, good evening, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter.
I'm Danny New. Hey, take a look at this. It was another muggy, cloudy day, but check out this beautiful rainbow captured by our mile-high camera. As my guy Jim Croce sang, nobody ever had a rainbow, baby, until they had the rain.
Beautiful sight tonight, and there were some scattered showers that are expected again. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson. So, Mike, it may be a bit rainy today, but we're in for a bit of a heat wave this weekend.
Hopefully you got some moisture because there's not much coming up for tomorrow, Saturday, or Sunday, and triple-digit temperatures are on the way. Now, the scattered showers have kind of moved out of the Denver area. We just had one little band push through. Had a few stronger storms out toward Lyman, had some warnings there, a few warnings on the northeast plains. Denver area and to the north of us, we've got these storms pushing through. Now, this is what it looked like in time lapse as those storms came through the metro and scattered showers and storms around. Here's the current view, a lovely shot at sunset, and this is our forecast. The isolated storms are going to head out onto the eastern plains, and we have just heat coming up. Hotter, drier on Friday. Very hot with triple-digit temperatures coming up this weekend. I'll let you know which days will hit the century mark in a few minutes.
Thank you, Mike. Well, new questions arising in the aftermath of the holiday parade massacre outside of Chicago, namely how the gunman was able to legally purchase 5 firearms despite having multiple red flags. Now, the father of the 21-year-old gunman is denying his culpability in the attack. Authorities say that criminal charges could be on the table for that father, though, who sponsored his son's application for a gun license before he turned 21, despite a prior suicide attempt and alleged threats to kill his family. He told ABC News he does not live with his son and claims he was not responsible for that purchase.
I filled out the consent form to allow my son to go through the process. They do background checks, whatever that entails.
The Lake County State's attorney says his father is not criminally liable for sponsoring his son's firearms card. Well, school resource officers from across the country are in Denver this week to train with each other on the best ways to keep our kids safe.
And their week-long conference culminated tonight in a service at the Columbine Memorial to reflect on their mission to prevent more of those tragedies from happening.
Denver 7's Rob Harris was at the ceremony, and he joins us live from Memorial. Rob?
Yeah, and guys, it was a beautiful and emotional ceremony here at Columbine Memorial, and it caps off a very full week for the people who were here this week. In a lot of ways, it's a really tough time to be a school resource officer, especially after heartbreaking tragedies like we just saw this year in Uvalde, Texas, that are like other tragedies, including the Columbine shooting tragedy. But that's the exact reason why so many SROs who I talked to today say they're here and why they're leaning into their duty. They've been learning and training together this week, not only on how to best react and respond during moments of crisis, but also how to communicate with parents during crisis and the community, and how to identify threats before they arise.
The 13 that died here, all of the elementary school kids that died at Sandy Hook, we will not let them die in vain. We will train and train and train until this problem is done with.
Now, speakers at the ceremony here at Columbine Memorial tonight included Michelle Gay, a mom who lost her daughter during the school shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary in 2012, and Frank DeAngelis, who was principal of Columbine High School at the time of the shooting. The ceremony ended tonight with DeAngelis reading the 13 names of the victims here at Columbine. We're going to hear more from his speech tonight at 10 o'clock on Denver 7. Back to you.
Thank you, Rob. And Denver police are searching for a suspect after a shooting downtown. Police say the call came in about 4:30 p.m. near 22nd and Champa. One man was taken to the hospital and no update has been given on his condition. The road between Stout and Champa is closed while police continue to investigate.
An update tonight, a second arrest has been made in the murder of a 5-year-old girl in Colorado Springs back in January. Police say on January 13th, Emily Canales died due to blunt force trauma. After an investigation, a search started for Emily's mother and boyfriend. Brianne Escamilla was taken into custody Wednesday. Escamilla's boyfriend, Matthew Urias, was arrested in June.
Marlon Briscoe was nicknamed the Magician and made history on the football field when he became the first black quarterback to start in the league that would eventually merge with the NFL.
That team he was on the first quarterback for was the Broncos. Briscoe passed away last Monday at the age of 76, and now his family has started a fundraiser for his funeral expenses.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon learned other former Broncos are spreading the word and how you can help.
What does it mean to be a quarterback?
He's viewed as being the leader of that team.
And who comes to mind?
Often hear about Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. Now we hear about Russell Wilson.
But before there was Wilson, there was Marlon Briscoe.
Becoming a Denver Bronco, you have to be aware of the Broncos' history. So that's how I came to know Marlon Briscoe.
And Nick Ferguson was starstruck when he eventually spoke with Briscoe, who was the first starting quarterback in the AFL before it became the NFL more than 50 years ago.
African-American quarterbacks back in the day, they were not really promoted or viewed as faces of the franchise.
Ferguson says the Broncos wanted Briscoe to play different positions, but he pushed to be the QB.
I see a lot of ourselves in Marlon. And the fact that he didn't really listen to people saying what he wasn't able to do.
Briscoe died last week at 76 years old from complications of pneumonia.
Learned the value of resiliency from our father. That and our love for popcorn.
The family started a GoFundMe to pay for the funeral expenses, and the Broncos have reached out to help in some way.
They wanted to be discreet, but let's just say they are basically making a really good contribution to the services and to help us kind of bridge the gap for his service next week.
We bleed orange and blue. No, it is true.
Support, Ferguson says, is needed, especially since Briscoe played in a different time when it came to benefits.
Those guys were playing their hearts out, leaving parts of themselves out there on the field, but the revenue wasn't generated like it is now. There was no massive TV deals, Nike contracts and all of these things.
Helping another former player who wanted to move past the titles and focus on the people behind them.
He's hoping that we get to a point where we look at all quarterbacks uniquely the same.
Carrying on a legacy the one who led the way would be proud of. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Thank you, Colette. And the family is taking donations until Briscoe's service next week, and their goal is $16,000. And if they beat that, the family will donate the rest to a scholarship in Briscoe's name at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. To donate, we have a link to that GoFundMe right now on thedenverchannel.com for you.
Taking a look at our top story tonight, some people at a Centennial apartment complex say they're not the only ones who've taken up residence there.
Contact Denver 7 has received complaints that rats have become their newest neighbors and are causing costly damage.
As Denver 7's CB Cotton reports, solutions to that problem are now on the way.
Oh my God.
A video showing what appears to be rats scurrying around an apartment complex. Sophia Herrera says what she couldn't capture with her cell phone, her eyes will never forget.
So they're pretty large.
And they've caused plenty of hassle, according to Herrera.
One night my sister came home from work and she couldn't get out of her car because they were like crawling around all outside of her vehicle.
Herrera lives here at the Stratford Station apartment complex in Centennial, and she says she's taken multiple videos of the problem. Turns out she's not the only one looking for a solution.
The rats have gotten into their cars and destroyed wiring, and thousands of dollars in damage in their vehicles.
Contact Denver 7 found at least 3 reviews for the apartment complex mentioned an issue with rats. And in late June, several tenants sent us this email sent out from the Stratford Station management team discussing the rodent issue.
I definitely can't afford to pay for thousands of dollars in damage in my car from the rats.
So Contact Denver 7 reached out to property management Graystar. In a statement, the company says the rodents are living underneath bushes that are off property. The company says they've been in contact with the city of Centennial, who hopes to, quote, expedite our neighbors' attention to the issue. Graystar also says they've increased visits from their pest control contractor.
Oh my God.
Herrera says she's happy the rodents are getting run out, but the problem has already sent her packing too.
I mean, I don't consider renewing my lease at all at this point because I don't want this to ever be an issue again.
For Contact Denver 7, I'm CB Cotton.
And if there's something you would like Contact Denver 7 to look into, just call the number right there on your screen or email contact7@thedenverchannel.com.
Coming up, Aurora's mayor says the city's homeless problem is exacerbated by the Douglas County
I
Jail.
will say that what Douglas County is doing is wrong.
I want to be really clear that I have no interest in a tent city.
The back and forth on how to clear the city's streets.
The scattered storms will end tonight. The next thing to worry about, big time heat.
Plus, a 5G tower is creating an eyesore in Inglewood.
You can't get away from it. They're going to see it. You can't tuck it away.
People are contacting Denver 7 with worries about what an invasion of poles will do to their neighborhood.